Hi, I'm Nancy O'Neill, and thank you for joining us on this week's Suncoast FYI. Today we're going to begin the show with the topic of bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is a very difficult stage to go through, but you don't have to go through it alone. Bankruptcy attorney Sherry Ellis has dedicated her life into helping people here on the Suncoast steer through this very challenging process. She's here to talk more about that with us, and thank you for joining us, Sherry.
Thank you for having me here.
Now, I'm just curious, have you always lived in Sarasota and practiced law?
No, I came here in 1978, so I feel like a native, and went to college and went to school. And I went back to law school at 37.
Awesome, good for you.
Graduated at 40.
Good
And
for you.
before that, I worked at Palms Hospital. It was, I think it's now called Bayside. And I waitressed at the Melody during college for 5 years, and ended up in law.
Awesome. And why did you choose bankruptcy
Well,
for your practice?
yeah, that's a good question. I went to Stetson Law. I had a lot of student loans. And I interned, and I ended up working for Earl Moreland as a state attorney for 5 years. And I did a lot of trials, a lot of jury trials and non-jury trials. After about 5 years, I thought it might be time to go out on my own, pay back some loans, things like that. So I was thinking about where to go. I went to Venice. There weren't a lot of lawyers down there at the time in 2003. Nobody really wanted to drive down there. And I opened up shop and was sitting there bored. And then the hurricanes hit, and we got very, very busy.
Oh my, oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was an awful time for so many people.
It was horrible.
What are the biggest changes that you've seen since you've been practicing bankruptcy?
Right now, bankruptcy filings are down. Our middle district, there's 3, north, south, and middle. Our district used to be the second busiest in the United States of America out of 96 bankruptcy courts. We have fallen to number 3, just our area. But one of the biggest changes I've seen, people are now planning and thinking ahead. They're not waiting to the last minute. Many of my clients that I had 10 years ago, 13 years ago, now come back to me for asset management. You know, what can I do this round to make it different? I think people's attitude is different. A lot of people have filed, and it's not, the stigma isn't really there.
A lot more people have gone through it because, as you said, the housing crisis. I mean, so many people just weren't prepared for that. And nobody wants to go through bankruptcy. That's not a pleasant thing.
It's always a last resort. It's always the caboose, and I think that scares people when they hear you do that. But I mean, I can work with somebody for 2 years before they even have to do that. Maybe they don't. There's so many options that they don't know about, but you don't know unless you ask. And then even after bankruptcy, there's things that they want to do. They're very conscientious. They're hardworking people. And they want to do the right thing.
Now, what are some of the options that people have and advice that you would give to them?
It depends on the person and the facts. That's a real tough one. You know, what I do, though, I do a free consultation. I go over all their debts, their assets, and their income.
And you evaluate.
And I evaluate that, and then I evaluate what caused it. And where they're going. A lot of times it's just a loss of health. And they're going to get better.
Right.
But right now they don't have an income for 4 months and they lost their insurance. So that would be totally different than somebody who might be behind 3 months on a mortgage, and they can catch up, but not for 6 months. And they're like, well, what would I do? So every person has unique circumstances.
So the bottom line is they may not always be as bad off as they think they are, so they really should come talk to you to see what other choices they have.
I avoid it at all costs. that is at the back of the train.
Okay.
I had a girl in the other day, bless her heart, and she had only one judgment from a credit card, and they wanted to garnish wages. That was all it was. Just, I'm like, well, I'm not going to let you do a bankruptcy. There's no way. You're young, you know, this is not what you need to do. So I negotiated it, and everything worked out well.
Wonderful. And that's it. I mean, there's so much stress involved with this type of fear. I mean, it creates a fear, and you really need to get the information. So where can our viewers go to find you and get that information they need?
I think the best place is the internet. If you have internet, a lot of my clients in Northport and Port Charlotte, they don't really use a computer much. But you would go to VeniceSarasotaBankruptcy.com, where you can just put my name in and Google it.
Okay. Is there a phone number that they could call and reach you at?
Yes,
as well?
It's 941-363-0800, and you can contact me through the website, and I blog on there. And
Okay. Great. Well,
thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it was wonderful.
you.
Thank you for your important information. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next on Suncoast FYI, Dr. Mary Thorpe. Mary's practice is in the field of audiology for Hear Care Connection. Hear Care is involved in several mission trips, and the latest is in the heart of Africa. Mary will tell us all about this exciting trip when we come back.